Hey everybody, Ron and Jacob here, and we're going to give you a recap of the first outing with the brand new Chevelle from the 2025 Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. All right, so we're going to kick this whole story off before we actually even got to the track, and we're going to start off by talking about the adventure that we had going to get the car from Todd Tuttero's shop in Yadkinville, North Carolina. We literally left the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and my dad and I decided to make it a one-shot trip. So we left at like 5 in the morning Saturday and drove straight through, and we got to Todd Tuttero's shop at about 5:30 in the evening Saturday, the same day, and we went and picked the car up. And when we got to the shop, we were beyond floored with how nice the car turned out, and we were super happy with it. I think we didn't really know what to do with it except stare at it. We were kind of lost.
Yeah, all I kept thinking about is I want to take the car and put it in my in the living room and make it a conversation piece on the coffee table. It's just everything is shiny, everything's brand new. I mean, I was like just totally amazed, and I could see how much work they did and what we left off. You know, what we left with him, and what we got back from him was a completed turnkey race car, and it was ready to go. It's just a matter of, the next steps was to tune it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a sweet looking car. Not that it isn't now. It still looks good.
Just dirty.
Yeah, it's just a little dirtier, but it was just amazing to see it. I think what really kind of threw you and I for the biggest loop was because this is a car that we've never had this type and caliber before. This thing was just so advanced compared to what we had from before when we had the same body, but it was
this is 2.0.
This car was, the body is the same body that was on the radial tire car, but everything underneath it and the drive line and everything like that is all 100% brand new. There was really nothing carried over from the old car except for the quarter panels, the roof,
the tail
panel, the doors, and the driver, I think, was the only thing that came over from the old car.
Yeah, this is a completely different, brand new car. Jacob and I decided, okay, hey, look, what do you want to do? And we had the old car, and it just, it was homemade. We built that thing. We sold, the Flowmaster car, we sold that eons ago, long time ago. We got out of racing. We had to do a lot of things in our life, get businesses started, making money, because this is not cheap. And so we needed a business that could actually get us to where we need to be able to pay for this stuff. And so we've been out for a while. And then we built our first green one, and that one, we really couldn't even afford that one. But that was a homemade car. And I think we did about maybe 90% of the car. We had friends help us on the chassis. We had body painted by friends. I mean, it was a homemade built car. It was no named people. We decided that, hey, look, if we're going to do this, let's get serious. And Jacob and I went to the staging lanes, and we said, okay, this is final round or, semifinals, multiple tracks that we went to. Who do we see that is always there chassis-wise? And it turned out to be Jerry Bickle's chassis were the ones that was always, in the finals, or it was semifinals. I'm not saying every single time, but the majority of the time. So we decided, okay, let's go that direction. And so we went and we dropped that car, our body parts off to Jerry Bickle to have him build us a chassis. So this chassis here is a Jerry Bickle built chassis, complete from front to back. And then we decided because we were trying to figure out the blower deal since we're trying to go fast. And nobody could help us with the Chevy motor. Nobody seemed to remember the past because it's been so long ago and people ran blower motors on their Chevys. So we decided this time to go with a Hemi, which is the Noonan Hemi. And we thought, you know what, because we really don't know what we're doing, who is the fastest, quickest, most consistent winner. And we found out,
It was obviously Todd Totaro.
yeah, I'm not saying the other guys aren't good. They are good. You know, a lot of these other tuners are awesome. It's just the cool thing about Todd is he is so down to earth and so approachable. And his son Ty is the same way. I mean, he'll laugh and joke with you about anything and everything. And like I said, they both are so approachable. It's crazy how friendly and good natured people they are. And it makes it so easy to work with. So we decided, hey, let's get with these guys. Let's let them do the tuning. I'll do the driving. Jacob will do the learning. He's going to learn along with, you know, what's going on with Todd and Ty and all that. And we originally were going to run the big tire. And we were thinking about, because steel roof and quarters, we were thinking about running the no prep stuff. And of course that fell apart. But now I see that, you know, there's other people taking it up. But Todd says, you know what, why don't you just run, your car is a perfect setup for running 10.5. So we got a brand new car, completely brand new, not associated with the poster car at all. And we run in 10.5 Outlaw for the first time at the Snowbirds.
Yeah.
And for the first outing, I did not have any expectations. I just thought, you know, we're going to get out there and, you know, just get this thing tuned up and just run a decent number. And it didn't do bad. I mean, you know, it ran pretty good, you know, at the Snowbirds, I thought. I mean, I had to get used to the car. I had to understand what the car, how it's going to react. Completely different deal altogether. And I got used to it pretty quick, and we did well.
Yeah. Yeah, when we got to Todd's shop, it was pretty interesting because they hadn't even fired the car up yet. I mean, they were working up to the 11th hour, 11th minute, 11th second, trying to get this car done for us. And so we got there, and you know, we're walking around his shop, and you know, they're kind of giving us an initial orientation with the car, which we knew there was going to be a lot more that was going to be done at the track. So we were prepared for that. So we roll this thing outside. It's probably 6 or 7 o'clock at night, firing this thing up in the pitch black outside of his shop. And we got to hear this thing run for the first time. And Ron and I think, were very surprised with how good it sounded. We were really surprised. The Big Chief motor sounded pretty good. That was okay. But this Hemi's on a whole nother planet. It's not even in the same galaxy as what that Chevy motor was, on top of the fact that it's got a 50 times better blower from Janus on it that's pushing all the air through it. So.
Thanks, gas.
We were more than stoked, but we loaded the car up that same night and turned right back around and made the long haul back to Florida. And really from there, we kind of had to finish up some small things at our end, like put the seatbelts in, get them fitted, and do a whole bunch of other stuff. But we ended up getting to the track late Monday. We got pitted on Tuesday morning. And we had all the intentions in the world of doing testing, but it's like every time we turned around, there was a problem. Tuesday, it literally took us all day to get set up because we hadn't done it in about 5-6 years. So we were kind of relearning how to get set back up and try to get the awning put up, the pit mat, the jacks, you know, all the other accoutrements that go with that. So that took us all day. So we lost all of our ability to test on Tuesday. Well, then Wednesday came around and we had to get the car teched, but there was a snag with that because chassis never got certified, and you can't tech a car that doesn't have a certified chassis. So we had to get the chassis certified. Once that was done, then we had to go through tech. Well, by the time that we had all that arranged and ironed out, it was so late in the day, it didn't make sense to pay to do the testing because we were going to pay something like $300, and we weren't even guaranteed that we were going to make one hit. They were telling us it's up in the air whether or not you're actually going to be able to make a pass. Well, then that night, that's when they had announced that the schedule had to be shortened up because it was guaranteed that it was going to rain on Sunday. And they had to get eliminations done on Saturday, which typically is a qualifying day. So we basically lost all of our opportunities to test, and we basically dove straight into qualifying for the event with a brand new car. So the first pass, nobody knew what to expect. We had no clue what we were going to do. Now, Todd did set the car up. He preliminarily did the 4-link, a shock setting, the struts, all the initial tune-up was already in the car, but even he didn't really know what this car was going to be like because it's not a carbon copy of Ethan Stedding's Camaro. So they just put a light tune-up in this thing, and we kind of let it go and seen what happened. Now, the first pass, we didn't really make it that far because the car lurched immediately to the left. Now, we know now what the problem was with why it went left, but from your end of the story, being in the car, what were you seeing in that first run?
I just think it was just figuring the car out because as strange as it sounds, that's a 10.5-inch tall tire. 10.5-inch wide tire on a 33-inch tall tire. So it's very squirrely. And I think you can see it. And it happens to everybody's car. If you watch other people, they go down the track all over. It's like a wiggle wagon.
Right.
So, and I think that's just what happened. I just wasn't ready. I wasn't understanding what the car was going to do. I was used to, like the radial car, you let go of the button, it just goes straight. This doesn't do that.
Right.
And I think that's what happened on the first run.
Yeah. So the first run was, I don't even think it made it to the 60-foot cone, and we had to abort that.
There will be no greater disparity between two cars made by the same company in visual appeal this entire weekend than what you're looking at here.
What are you trying to say, Brian?
Lutz's car is everything you want in a drag car. It is angry looking, it is violent sounding, it looks like it's been in a bar fight. I don't know if it's won or it's lost, but it's been in a bar fight. Fisher's car is what every guy wants sitting in the garage. Look at that thing.
Yeah, that thing. If we had a best appearing award,
yes,
here at the track this weekend, that would definitely be in contention.
Ron Fisher had all kinds of problems the first time they attempted to get on a racetrack. Bill Lutz was part of the first pair this morning, made a clean run, but unfortunately did not get an ET, so they came back up for a rerun. He and Mikey did. Car spun the tires, went 698 in the eighth. So both of these guys have plenty of room to make up. More big trouble for Ron Fisher. Meanwhile, Lutz goes 392.8 and 193.35.
We came back, we kind of regrouped, and then we go up for the second pass. And the second pass was a little bit more drama-filled. Because Todd's standing behind the car, and he's directing me to tell my dad what to do over the radio. And Todd don't have a radio, so he's basically using the hand gestures to tell me what to tell my dad. So what we did not know then, what we knew later on in the weekend, was the alignment on the car was done, but it wasn't perfect. And if I had to blame it on anything, it was probably just, because everything's new, everything settles, everything gets worked in. So you could have a perfect alignment, and then once you start, using it, everything kind of settles. So we found out that the car would be going left, but the marker on the steering wheel indicated to him that it was going straight. Well, Todd's trying to counter the car going left by telling me to steer it right, but we're 5 feet from the beams, and he's fighting what we're telling him because he's saying, why are you making me cock the wheel to the right? All I'm going to do is run into the damn Christmas tree.
Yeah, Ron Fisher's car, this thing, it's legendary. It's almost like legally we have to mention it, but this is the car from the Flowmaster poster back in the day. When that thing was painted red, they pulled that bumper standing wheel stand, and Ray Fluger saw the photo and said yes, and they ran it in poster size in every magazine you ever saw in your life.
I think I had that poster one time in my garage.
Exactly. Fisher has been on the struggle bus here for the last day or so. And trying to get this car off the starting line has been a big problem. I don't know if it's the fuel system issue or not. You can see Todd Tutterow kind of desperately motioning to try to get this car lined up where they want it. And they wanted to turn the wheel right, but Ron is saying, you know what? Despite which direction you're pointing, I'm going to go ahead and hold this wheel. This is going to go back. That's called the old serpentine stage right there. Right? They're trying to do the right-hand side going line number 4, 692. You can still see Todd pointing over to the right side, trying to get him to wrench the wheel over, and it just, from our standpoint, now he's pointing with both fingers. He was trying to will it to the right.
So we had that issue. So Todd immediately, right after the pass, Todd literally met us at the top end with the scooter, and he said, let me drive the car back. So he drives the car back, and he realizes then, okay, the alignment is not right. So he had to come back, and he fixed the alignment on the car, and that solved that problem once and for all. So and that was the second pass. And then after that, we got into the other qualifying passes, which we had a lot more success with. The third pass, I think we went something around, was it like a
44 or something.
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was the first time that the car had ever fully gone down the track.
It was a first full pass.
Yeah, it was first full pass, under power, with no hiccups, no drama, no nothing. Well, then after that, we got into Q4, and it ran a little bit better. We're fighting some other issues too that were keeping the car from going its full potential. I think officially we ended up qualifying with like a 5 something or another. It wasn't anything spectacular, but
And old Canada, Nick Agostino, Ontario, Canada, the 69 Chevrolet Camaro coming up here in the left lane. MS transmission, downtown engine. The number 5 qualifier has been 392, 397, 203.
A lot goes on that car, right? A lot goes to the novel. Oh, well, both cars, but man, that 68 Cabela there, just, like I said, brown figure, I believe everything. I've seen it at Donald's races there as well. Yeah, absolutely.
racing in the Virginia, the Outlaw 10-5 deal they do down there with Cross Snow and the guys, gals down there. And Gavin. Gavin's always down there in Virginia. It's for lovers, that's why he's there. Here we go. Augustino down here in the left lane. Get ready, Florida fans. It's going to be a
And then the blessing of the whole thing was there was only 9 cars in the whole class. So, and thankfully, Wes allowed for the class to be an all-run field. We were the last qualifier in the number 9th position, and they decided to make it an all-run field, so we were in by default. Hilariously enough, we did not know that the Pro 10-5 class was a chip draw class. We thought that was something that was reserved just for the Pro Mod people. Didn't know anything about it, so we completely missed the chip draw. So the track draws the chips on our behalf. And it ends up turning out that they drew the chip for us, and we ended up getting a bye run in the first round of elimination. So we got really lucky on that one. That ended up being a really big blessing, because that was kind of like an additional qualifying pass for us and allowed us to move on to round 2 of eliminations.
It's like a tuning run.
Yeah. The other blessing was we were fighting in Q3 and Q4. The car had a really hard time hooking up. And Todd kind of knew that that was going to be a problem that could have come up, but he didn't know if it was going to be an issue, because which ended up being a correct assumption, was the stator and the torque converter was too tight. And so Thursday night, I believe it was, or Friday night, whichever one of the two, we ended up having to pull the converter out and do a stator change. Todd had the stator, and he gave us the stator to run, and it calmed the car down enough that you could actually get out and go. So anyway, going back to first round of eliminations, that was really like the first really hard pull on the motor. That pass, we ended up going a 419 at 177. Wasn't the quickest ET that we've ever run, because we have been a 413, but that was our best mile an hour ever in the 8th mile. Prior to that, our best mile an hour was 173, and we went 177 on that pass. And that was the first real pass where it was really starting to leave hard.
And so Fisher, a much more composed staging process than we had previously.
What would you have to describe that pass like to them? Because it did move around a little bit. Not as bad as the slower passes, ironically enough.
Well, because I knew what to expect. So I was kind of counter-steering what I felt the car was doing, because you could feel the car move around. So it wasn't so bad, but it still moves around a lot. But it's just being prepared for what you think the car is going to do. It's just, you got to be in front of it,
Yeah, but the whole time the car feels super stable and everything. Other than the tires.
For the most part, it's a very stable car. It feels good. It feels like part of me, which is really important.
Right.
And I think that is what makes a difference. And that's what you got to feel. You got to feel like the car is part of you, an extension.
Yeah. So we go the 419 at 177. Rah-rah Siskumba. We move on to round 2. So we do the chip draw for that one, because that one we actually knew there was a chip draw. So we made him go up there and do the chip draw. So he goes up there and they do the chip draw. And you end up drawing our friend from Radial Tire Racing, Nick Augustino from Canada. And it was really funny, because you were telling me how you actually wanted to get up to the starting line because you actually felt like you had a chance at doing some damage.
You can feel the power in the motor. You can feel, unlike before, this car just keeps pulling. It just keeps going. It doesn't feel like it's dying after the 330. And it just, the car just feels good. The motor felt good. And instead of being nervous and scared, sweating, I was like ready. I was like, I wanted to get up there, and I wanted to get up on that line and be a contender.
Yeah. Yeah, so we go out there, and it was funny because because Ty Tuttero's really the one that's kind of tuning this car. His dad's Todd is really more like in the background, just kind of overseeing everything. And I kind of knew something was up because we're in the staging lanes, and Ty comes running up there with the moped, and first thing he's doing, he's going in the fuel tech, and I can watch what he's doing. He's backing up all the lean outs on this motor to literally where one of them was coming on right when the trans brakes released. And I thought to myself, this is going to be interesting. I really want to see what this thing's going to do. So I kind of asked Ty, I said, I know you don't really know because this car is new to you, but if you had to guess, what do you think this car would run? And he goes, well, I'm kind of thinking it's going to be somewhere around a 406. It should be something like that. And I was like, okay, if I end the weekend in the O's, I'll be ecstatic. I got up to round 2. This is the most success I've ever had on a debut weekend with a brand new car. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing of what the air and the kind of dew does here as we go on into the evening. But right now, we're probably in that magic hour, like Kayla says, with maximum performance potential. We need little gangster to the lanes, please. Little gangsters to the lanes, please. We got, let's see, India left. Little gangsters to the lanes, please. The map says this should be kind of a slam dunk for Agostino. Not taking anything away from Rod Fisher because the car is getting better, but Fisher's best run is about a second behind what Agostino's been able to put up on the board, but you never know.
Right. Haven't you ever heard that you don't race on paper? Come on now.
I may have said that too much for this job, but yeah, I've lived that life a little bit. Ron Fisher, on the other hand, maybe he's some sort of a crazy dark horse. He has Todd Tuttero starting to work on this car, which has really changed the program. Agostino waiting patiently here for Fisher to pull up, which he's doing right now. Both cars look real good under this darkening sky.
Looks like Agostino went first. Here we go.
So we go up there. Everything's normal. Does the burnout, backs up, starting line procedure. We're all chill. You let go of the trans brake. Not only were you winning, but you were running away from him. And then as fate would have it, the ignition box decides it wants to give us vacation time notice.
Yeah, but I can tell you when I let go of that button, it felt good. I mean, it felt, oh, okay, this feels great. But then I would say about 5 to 10 feet out, it was like somebody kicked the back of their car with a boot, and that thing just took off. And I would say when it got past the 60 foot, it was like, I'm coming. And when that thing set me back in the seat, I was like, wow, this is really impressive. And if you look at the video, you'll see the car, you'll see Nick is like, it almost looks like we're going side by side. I mean, I cut a little bit better light, but I mean, we're side by side, and you can literally see it. as we're going down the track, my car is like driving away from him. And I was like, wow, that's pretty intense. When I seen the video, I realized the car was moving out.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that it was literally driving away when, till after I seen that video. I was like, wow, that's impressive. And the thing is, as you already know, according to Todd and Ty, they both say that we got to be easy on the tune-up because we're trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
So this thing has not even got all the foot that can go.
No.
It's got a lot more beef to go.
This motor's got a lot left in it. It's even got too thick of head gaskets in it because they wanted to play safe.
Yeah,
with it.
low. This is a low compression motor because they're concerned about the X2 heads that Noonan has.
Yeah.
Because they don't
have
know
a lot of data.
Data on the combustion chamber. Says, well, let's just start out with low compression.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. So this motor is going to be wild when it's all said and done. But what ended up happening was we had an ignition box failure, and this car, the way it's set up, it's got 2 ignition boxes in it, and the one ignition box stayed running all the way to the end. The other one took a dive, and the way that it's set up is one ignition box runs the outer 4 cylinders, the other box runs the inner 4 cylinders on the motor. I don't know which one ended up going away and what cylinders it lorded over, but we basically took a V8 Hemi and turned it into a V4 Hemi with a blower on it. It lost roughly about 2,000 RPM. Todd, Ty, myself, and our crew member, Austin, were all standing there on the starting line wondering what just happened, because this thing sounded like a World War I triple-decker airplane missing 4 cylinders, and we're sitting here thinking, we're all looking at each other thinking, we didn't program the lockup to come on, and if we did, man, that's a severe lockup. Ty didn't understand it, Todd didn't understand it, we didn't really know what was going on until we got back, and then we looked at the data, and what gave it away was the EGTs and 4 cylinders were cold. And then we started looking deeper, and then we found the ignition box had cut out. And that happened like just after the 330. And because of that, Nick was able to drive around us like we were tied to a tree stump. So needless to say, we ended up losing. The funny thing is, with all the momentum that it lost, as far back on the track that it lost it, still went a 428.
Yeah, it went a 428, and we lost power roughly about the 330, roughly.
Yeah.
And it had enough momentum that if you look at the video, you'll see that it was like just like maybe 15, 20 feet before the cone, and that's where he passed me.
Yeah.
If I just had a few more feet, you know.
If we could just shorten Bradenton up just a little bit.
Yeah, I think we could have made a difference, but it kind of sucked in a way that had to happen. But
yeah,
hopefully with the U.S. Nationals.
Yeah, the U.S. Street Nationals coming up at the end of January, we will be back. Trust me, I'm not letting that happen again.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a very successful weekend. My dad and I are totally happy. We feel like this is probably the best money we've ever spent in racing, just because of the speed in which we were able to get up and running and not spending time scratching our ass wondering if we even made the right decision or if we should have just became golfers. But we appreciate all the fans that stopped by. We love every single one of you, you know, even the ones that are from Radial Tire days that still stick around. They love the car. They love the way it looks. We greatly appreciate it. We love all of the comments that the announcers were giving us over the weekends. We were rolling on the floor half the time listening to some of these comments, although there is one minor correction. There was some debate between some of the announcers about the color of the car. This color is not Grecian green. I'll post a picture of a Chevelle that is Grecian green so that you can see the difference. This color is ash gold. It's not factory ash gold. My dad and I modified it. We spent some time in a mixing booth and we took the factory color and we kind of played with it, made it a little bit more appealing to the eye, a little bit less dull, but in the basis of it is it's ash gold, which was actually the most popular color in 1968 for the Chevelle. That was the color that came on most Chevelles that rolled off of the factory line back in 1968. And we have another car, which if you're a follower of the channel, we have a street car that's painted the same exact color, but it's got a 502 big block with a 4-speed in it. That car was actually the inspiration for making this car look the way it did, because we look at the street car and we just always tell each other about how the black vinyl top and the black trim and the ash gold color just really plays well in the light. It fits the car really well. But to clear up that confusion, it's not Grecian green, it's not Grecian green mist. Grecian green is a totally different color. Doesn't even look anything close to this. This is ash gold. Anything else you want to add to this before we let everybody go off the chain?
Come find us. U.S. Street Nationals, January.
Be there.